but now that Gibraltar ult is going to force these guys to back up and possibly rotate around. Probably the safer play as well, as they find themselves a little bit of a nook here that they can heal up in. And it's going to be a really aggressive play if someone wants to push them.
Yeah, they find themselves a nice little spot. Go ahead and get the help back up before they make the rest of their push up and around.
I love how Caustic there, his gun wasn't like loaded. So he's just sitting there and he's like ripping at nothing.
Oh, yeah. Well, that and the ragdoll. There's the ragdoll effects of the crates whenever they bounce around all over the place. Little small things like that. You can see 303 got themselves a nice little bit of terrain that they're working with. Got some vision to work with as well, but they do not have the circle. You know, the fact that they're going to need to make their way through. They have several options in front of them. They can stick to the low ground, but it looks like they're just going to go ahead and lean on ropes. Use that opportunity just to get in through quickly. You get a little bit of information, but spots out on both sides. A couple of love taps back and forth, let each other know that they're there. Well, looks like it's going to be Rogue trying to figure out how they're going to make this encroachment as well.
Nice thing for Rogue here is they do have a lot of options. So even if they peek to that south side, they can wrap back up to the north if they really want to. Just try not to burn. And the other issue is Sweet does not have a rift up for a very long time. So gonna need to be a little bit careful as both his and Pathfinder's ultimate are down on drop. So just gonna bind for time. Gonna take the portal that is there and move back in. Find some hard cover. Just hoping that there's nobody in these buildings.
Well, let's see where we've got the situations playing right now. You can see that it's going to be Joey Blackout. Going to get a little bit more harassment back on the teams off to the side of him. Just connects with just enough to discourage any forward movement. See a couple of Wraith repositions coming in as well. Just trying to make sure that they get the revive up back over towards their teammate. So it looks like they have time to work with, but a couple of seconds, the circle's going to start making its way back over towards them. They got to be very hesitant of that ring at this stage, because there's going to be a lot of teams that are playing back around the south, as we've seen bounce around between different perspectives.
Yeah, Phoenix kid able to get one back all the way up, so Busby is going to be the one who kind of watches their back from the high ground, seeing if he can make sure nobody's rotating in. And he does spot one out, so shots coming out here from Busby with the G7 Scout. Able to land a couple, hopefully deter the players from being aggressive, as they know they had one down and trying to get knocked, so taking their time, teams on top of each other. As shots coming out, Hackler going to be on the receiving end of a majority of it. It looks like their Gibraltar's going to drop down a bubble, and they're going to use that as shots going on inside, having to bob and weave in between that wall to see if they can get some damage, one on top of another. Super aggressive play, and just overwhelming aggression is just going to be met by a Gibraltar bubble and pop them all down. So plenty of loot to get for almost free here for the guys on Hakulo and the rest.
Oh, they just have to be careful as it's starting to get pretty crowded around their territory. 14 teams still up and active and not a lot of space to work with. Luckily, there are a lot of buildings around the rig position, so you can find a lot of little high spots, get your team into different positions. As you can see, NRG making their way in towards the late game, but they do find themselves on the outskirts of the circle, trying to figure out how they're going to want to cut their path. See a lot of pings coming through. And in front of them, there is a team that could find themselves in a nice spot to take a couple of shots, but at this point, once you start seeing the catalyst shots come through, it's just going to be a cascade of third-partying all over the place. Meanwhile, you can see it's going to be Saucer, Teen, and Zinel's trying to go ahead and take a quick breather before making their push.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, too. They placed down that Watson ultimate, which should passively regenerate their shields, but having to burn the Gibraltar cooldown as well, as Sweet just finds one, and just one shot after another just pokes away with that Scout. You can see why it's becoming a favorite, along with things like the Hemlock, but going to take the time with that pressure to actually move closer towards the circle. So this decision making, they put a little bit of damage down, and unfortunately they run into another team, but immediate decision making. They apply damage, they know where a team is. We would need to rotate in front of them so we can gatekeep them. But again, another team on the other side waiting, so not going to be as easy as they thought.
Love what you're alluding to in the fact that as we move into the later stages of this game, with the amount of people that are alive inside of competitive Apex, you have to react fast. You have to follow the call. Go execute as quickly as you can, and if it doesn't work, reverse the play as fast as possible. You have the opportunities for that, but you have to make sure the whole time this is going on, the communication stays stacked up. Otherwise, your team is going to end up very quickly disjointed, and that's what I love to see from these players. You'll see them try to make a play, realize it's not going to work, and quickly communicate that back to everybody, and it's just reactions galore as everybody adapts and goes forward, trying to move with Plan D.
Yeah, it's a multitude of things. Not only is it, plenty of time put together, kind of knowing what they can and can't accomplish. And that changes from team to team based upon their skill level. But it's also at the same time, there's a little bit of instinct that comes with that as well. You know, just, you know, today is the day I'm feeling well. I feel confident that I can go in and take these guys on. And eventually it comes to the point where enough, you know, experience on the field, they know to back off. They don't even have to make those comms. So again, a lot of these teams, the more experienced ones, your Rogues, your TSMs, your Liquids, you know, even some of these other teams, like I think the Brazilian team in BKB has been having a fantastic day and have been putting up a fight. But again, ego challenging on this one, even though they don't have the positioning, the Watson's all set up. You see Rogue come in very aggressively and are actually going to get punished for it. So Sweeping, the only one available, is going to have to phase shift and see if they can get out of this. But quite honestly, I think they're going to get shot in the back end. Unless he manages to sneak, no, there is no way he gets away with this.
Full on Sin to the center somehow.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think that they were expecting position to be played off of. So you can see when they threw down their ropes, they rolled it up, and then suddenly right down below them, they just took a huge amount of damage. So one member left for Rogue right now, finally spotted out. A couple long-range taps going to come back over his direction. BKB in a good position as well right now, trying to hold up a little bit of a defensive point. Long-range shots are going to be the key name of the game at this point. A lot of teams trying to hold down defense. 13 still alive. Let's be real. Inside of this circle, there's a lot of places for 13 teams to hide at.
Yeah, again, this is why I talk about the new Kings Canyon being one of my favorites. I mean, you talk about how many different angles you have to be wary of. High and low elevation as well. I mean, you got guys for BKB down behind them on the left. You got another team up top on the right. And then the other teams that are on base level that are just across on the other side of the field. So you already seen the pings come out and talking about who needs to be on top. And talking about on top, Team Liquid has a fantastic position here on the circle. And they're going to be one of the teams that has to rotate last. So just able to put up a couple pop shots down for damage as they're using this elevation to traverse, and they do find a player below, but they're going to let them skate on by as they're getting shot from behind.
A little bit of harassment shots, but it's going to be Sweet now finding himself in
How are you still alive, Sweet?
Like 1 health right now, just trying to get away from this position, trying to find somewhere to hide at, and there's not a lot of good options. Going to finally say, okay, this is good enough. Just hide here as he's going to see a little bit of explosions going off in front of him.
That's a grenade. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Yeah, you just have to watch yourself die. That feels bad. The Liquid now starting to go a little bit more aggressive on the move. They've got so much control of everything up in the air, and they are making sure to use it.
Unfortunate for Sweet. Eventually, after fighting off so many times, does get dropped down there by that grenade. As BKB, as you said, good positioning here, showing exactly why, able to check both these angles, trying to see if they can find somebody in. Does spot one out on the top, is actually going to put a ton of damage down. Not sure if they secured any of those kills. There's one of them. So BKB with them taking out Liquid, who had that high advantage. Could be a chance to actually push over there if they really wanted to, but with the way that they are playing defensively, they have plenty to work with. I actually love their positioning right now. It's working out really well in their favor. Shots coming out is going to allow one to get away.
Oh, it's just about being careful about making sure nobody sneaks back up behind them. I like the fact that they're being very cautious.
Oh, what a play.
Another kill. Good plays coming out from BKB. Firm awareness on how people are going to be playing this circle, making sure to use every single tool in their arsenal to get whatever they need to move into this late game. Now, they just have to start being a little bit more careful as approaches are going to be happening back down towards the south of them. They've started getting firm control over the north, but it's all these small skirmishes they can hear in the distance that's kind of getting them a little bit wary of what's going to happen next.
5 squads remaining. Coming down to the wire here, you see McCarthy just trying to loot what he can out of this. Does end up getting a double tap for the Eva, so close range could put on a ton of damage. Something we don't get to see as much as often, as you can hear BKB trying to rotate around to this other side. There's a big circle push coming in shortly. They do have the soft rotation here. So there is a couple teams down below, and you're going to see what Watson can really do, just cutting off all these areas where they can rotate back up. But they do spot one behind. Just a little bit of cover, and is going to rotate out and has the portal play. So just being cheeky, if you're going to go through, you're going to have to go through Watson damage. As again, all these teams just trying to hold on. Oh, this is a really rough play for Shiny.
They're finding themselves in a very bad spot. Quick spray going to be coming out from BKB. They've got a lot of control, but that's a lot of people running right at him. TSM is doing a little bit of work on the southern part of the circle, starting to make their way through onto this one. We'll be very careful. Quick pick up on that, and suddenly there were 3 teams remaining. I think we're starting to get an idea on the lay of the land. It looks like TSM's trying to get a little bit more information, doing a quick peek up there. Not going to push too hard just quite yet.
Well, the one that people need to be worried about, and especially in moments like this, is the one on the Pathfinder. Aberlelli A player that in these ranges does not miss. He gets up top of the Prowler. You can see exactly why. The damage just raining out. He drops down one. BKB would have an advantage now being pushed by TSM. Imperial Hal. And that is it. One after another. TSM had the low ground, pushes up top, and just reigns supreme. That is the coordination I'm talking about, and they're able to hold on. So TSM get a victory here after being absent for a little bit. Back on top.
I love to see the quick play that comes out from TSM. Whenever TSM is in form, it is just a domino effect. They're like, okay, do this, and this. And then the game just instantly turns on its head. And you can see right there, it was just a quick, just throw the rope up, look up, say, okay, I know what's going on. Get that high ground point, hit a couple of shots and go, okay, guys, it's time to go. And the rest of the team just floods up after him. BKB just suddenly was like, what is even going on?
I mean, again, I hate being the fanboy and having that bias, but like Abreleli, every time I get to see his perspective, and we saw it last week as well, when he is confident or in that range where it's like within that 50-meter range, the guy doesn't miss, and it's scary to see it.